Hello, my beautifuls. I hope you're ready for this. We're going to be talking today about Sebastian Rogers and OMG. Boom, boom. There are some big booms. I am just saying, what in the actual hell? So, we just got done listening to an interview where the stepdad, Mr. Proud but Mr. Chris, explained all about CPS getting called on and coming to the home and the belt and all this. And then he goes on national television with Miss Nancy Grace, and it's a completely different story. You guys, let's get into it. I can't wait to break this down with you. There is so much going on. I mean, in 2 interviews, there's enough for us to talk for a week. This is unreal. Okay, without further ado, welcome to 1111 True Crime. I've got my all-star panel with me today, and you are either watching a live or you are watching a replay. And I want to thank my replay crew so incredibly much. Remember, you do have a fast forward button and can use it to your prerogative. All right, you guys, welcome my all-star panel. I've got Robin Davis Ducksworth. Hey, Jenny. How are you, lovely? Ziona Pride, Sam R. As is here, Blue Eyes Dumpling. Kimberly Brummett. Please look at Sebastian's teeth. They are spaced out. CP, which is his stepdad's initials, has bite marks which match chokehold, in my opinion. Interesting. Canadian True Crime Pup, Lucy Luhu, and Joan Marie. Hello, hello. Hi, Gemini 65. All right, you guys, fair use disclaimer. We're going to be watching a lot of little what the hell clips here, and it will be bouncing around because what I've done is I pulled out the pieces that I was like, what the hell what they just say? Out of the Nancy Grace interview yesterday, the live, or whatever it was. Right? But then we had our other clips that we can compare the same question being asked to the stepdad and him giving 2 different answers. You get to hear the comparison. Oh my golly. Before we dig in, let's get this fair use disclaimer out of the way. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing, and so on and so forth. Ooh, gold star. All right, you guys. Let's talk about this for a minute. This, ooh, oh, welcome back, Heaven Reigns, 28 months as a starlight. I said welcome back. I meant welcome back. I haven't seen you in a day or so, but you've been with me for 28 months. And you say, I love you to the moon and back. Aw, I love you too, Heaven. Thank you. You always use such beautiful, beautiful colors and icons. So supportive. I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a member for 28 months. Takes all of us, right? Okay, you guys, I want you to listen to this. Let's start with the mom on Nancy Grace. So this is Katie Proudfoot. Okay, wait. I forgot something. A big boom. We got to talk about the shoes real quick. So Sebastian Rogers is a 15-year-old with autism from Tennessee that the mother alleges she put to bed at 9 o'clock. She claims that she heard a noise and she yelled in there, whatever you're doing, get to bed. She did not check on him. She went to bed. That's what we knew up until the Nancy Grace interview. According to her, the last words that she ever shared with her son, he said, I love you, Mom, and said, I love you to the puppies. And those were allegedly the last words. Okay, now we're going to get into the shoes in just a minute here. But according to Mom in the Nancy Grace interview, as of last night, after a month, because Sebastian went missing on February 26th. It's March 26th today. So 30 days, and all of a sudden, Mom has a whole new last conversation that never before have we heard until now. So apparently, Sebastian's last words were not "I love you, Mommy, and I love my puppies," but this instead.
Earlier, you had stated you heard a noise in his room before you went to bed. What time was that?
Around 10 o'clock.
10 p.m. What did it sound like?
Just a thud.
A thud. You stated that you said, "Look, I don't care what you're doing in there. Go to bed." Is that right?
I was on the couch, which is near his room, and I said, Bubba, did you fall out of the bed? And he said, "No, ma'am." And I said, "Well, whatever you're doing in there, knock it off and go to sleep."
So you heard his voice.
Did you hear that? Let's rewind it, you guys. What are Sebastian's last words?
I said, "Well, whatever you're doing in there, knock it off and go to sleep."
So you heard.
Wait, we missed it. Here we go.
I was on the couch, which is near his room, and I said, Bubba, did you fall out of the bed? And he said, "No, ma'am." And I said, "Well, whatever you're doing in there, knock it off and go to sleep."
So his last words were "No, ma'am." Not "Mommy, I love you." "No, ma'am." That seems really weird to never bring, you've been asked, what was the last thing you remember your son saying to you? And she's like, "The last thing I remember is him saying, 'I love you, Mama,' telling his puppies I love him." And now we have a whole new, her version of the night where all of a sudden now, see, we learned about the sound. Like every interview is more confidence in herself to lengthen the story. Like the first few interviews, she never mentioned a sound at night. Then, interview before this one, she brings up the sound. And she described it as some noises. Some noises. Now it's a thud. So it's one sound. It's a thud. Not some noises, but a thud. And now she is talking to him, and he is responding according to her. So she has increased a significant timeline for us.
So you heard his voice at 10 p.m.
Yes, ma'am.
There's our timeline. According to her, 10 p.m. was the last time that she heard Sebastian. Now, I got to thinking, you guys, I got to take a second. I was thinking to myself, let's play out the scenario, it's just a theory, that the perpetrator is the mother in this case. Let's just suggest that for a second and see where we can imagine that would take us. One of the questions I have is, why would you not put shoes on him? And so at first I made some decisions that, okay, maybe this was an emergency and this child was scooped up out of bed and they didn't think to put shoes on the child. But I'm like, that's not it. And then I'm remembering the dogs, which we're going to hopefully get into today. It might be tomorrow. We have so much to cover. But the dogs allegedly hitting on the retaining pond, the construction site. Now, I got to thinking about shoes. What do we know when a child goes missing that they use to track a child? Shoes, a hairbrush, right? Shoes. Shoes are the most commonly known. So, if you are the perpetrator as the mother and you are trying to get away with a crime, perhaps you'll remove the shoes so the child cannot be tracked as easy. And it also gives you a way to mislead a scent dog. Because if you use the shoes to put them in an area, it's going to leave the child's scent. But then if you retrace your steps back to the home and put the shoes by the front door, then when they come, nobody's the wiser. And you can give them those particular shoes for the dogs to follow. Are you following me? Am I making sense, you guys? Hey, Kathy Stacy, most young children in the South will say, ma'am and sir. Correct. That is not strange to me for the child to say, no, ma'am. I was raised in a Baptist home in my teen years by my real father. So when I got to be about 9, I connected with my real dad. And I was taught that it shows respect and it's an easy way not to get a whooping. I mean, it's a get out of jail free card. So I was like, hey, this is easy. My dad say, are you going to do dishes tonight? No, sir. What do you mean, no, sir? I'm sorry, sir. All right, we'll get the dishes done. All right. Just saying, Texas Ranger says apparently there are some creators that are digging up dirt on both parents. Well, and you know, all parents are close to their child. Well, I shouldn't say that. All parents that are close to their child, there we go, are suspect to me until we have something otherwise. As says, did she put him in the garage where she parks her car? That's a good question. Whitney says, my kids will say ma'am and sir, but they still call me mom, mommy, and mama. Yeah, right. All right. I'm just saying, let's finish this one up real quick.
Do you have any idea what the sound actually was?
I do not know.
If he were to go out his window, what would he step on?
Mulch and bushes.
All right. It makes me wonder, you guys. It makes me really wonder about those shoes. Is that why there were no shoes missing? Because that way it looked like he had been home. But what if this child didn't make it home? What if, after all the running around on the way home, something happened? Could it really explain why there's no sightings of this child leaving the home? Because we have to look at science. And if there is absolutely no sighting of this child leaving the home ever with anybody, and there's that many door cams, I don't care how dark it is, there are people with lights on, and we've seen in the Idaho 4 case, lights silhouette anybody running around there. Dogs are in the neighborhood. No dogs went crazy. There was no ruckus, you know. This kid has no shoes, no coat, no phone. It's 20 to 30 degrees out. I don't think this kid made it home. As says, did Nancy ask where they keep the dogs in cages? Yeah, she gets into it. Sam R. says, ma'am was her words because in the next sentence, she calls Nancy ma'am. Yeah, good point. Lauren P. says, why isn't the scent outside your home of someone who lived there in general? That's the ticket. All right, let's get back into this interview. I think we did this one. All right. Let's get that up there. So we did that one. We'll put it right there. Okay, pull this one down. What do we got? The scratches. So a lot of people emailed me and they were like, do you see that dad had scratches and they're spaced? And we even had a commenter today bring up that Sebastian's teeth are very spaced, and they wondered if it was bite marks or possibly scratch marks on the stepdad. Let's listen.
Ma'am, go ahead.
What in the world is this on your arm on day 8, the interview? It's a scratch or a bite mark?
Left arm or right arm?
Oh, I don't know. It's the one where you were in the green shirt. And I think it was the right arm.
So right arm slightly above the elbow. If
Or
I'm guessing.
I think it was right below, if I'm not mistaken.
So I've got 2 spots on one on my hand, and I got one on closer to my elbow. They're 2 spots. We have little Morkies, and we have one that's very playful. We have one that's not so playful. And I like to roughhouse with my little Morkies, and I put my hand down, and they chase it around, and I don't stop, and I let them nibble, and I've been dumb enough, and I've gotten scratched by the bigger one.
They got
So-
their claws clipped and not grinded, so they're rough right now.
Yeah, but I thought you hadn't been home for almost a month, or all month. I thought it looked like fresh scratch. I'm just
So
saying.
when I'm in a green shirt,
Yeah,
okay,
you were talking
Was
to
that-
Fox 17.
okay,
Okay.
Fox 17. I had already been home, so I got home February 26th. That
so
can
that was
be
a new
released because
scratch.
that's when I came home.
Yeah, you're saying it was a new scratch then.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I was like, no, I came home February 26th. We did the interview.
Do y'all notice how confident he sounds and so right in your face and so talkative? And she even was talkative, and their voice is like a lot of explanation, like blah, 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 blah. And then we're going to be going back over to the Nancy Grace interview. And it's like, yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Outside. It was off. It's like as slim as you can get for an answer kind of stuff.
And those were scratches that are fresh. 'Cause
Okay.
The day I came home, I was actually still wearing my work clothes.
Okay. So y'all, he's saying that is a fresh scratch. So I'll say it now. I have also asked about that picture. So that is a fresh after he got home from his little dogs.
And believe it or not, that is the first time I've heard that question. So thank you. I had not heard that before.
Why thank somebody for challenging you and your stepson's missing? I had not heard that before, not heard that question before, so thank you. You are being vetted. You are making sure that you have crossed all your T's and you've dotted your I's. That's what I feel. I feel that you are trying to prepare yourself for hard scrutiny by somebody much more important. So were you, at this point, this is Smiley Stories World, beautiful, beautiful lady, did a great job in an interview. Did he come on here to test himself and Katie to make sure that they were ready to answer the hardball questions before they went on to Nancy Grace? Was this their, test run? Were they testing the water? Whitney says, thank you, so he can be even more prepared now. Samar, because he thinks he got one on her. Joanne Nicholson, who's roughhousing and playing with the dogs when your child is missing? The Biome. St. Jude has security and cameras. Just saying, right? Hey, Charlene Rico. Alibi within perspective. BJ Marshall. You got me tongue-tied. Alibi within perspective. There we go. Yes, a test run, says Cat H. As says ding, ding, ding. All right.
Yeah. So I asked that. So if you see that picture out again that I asked, that's just from where I asked it, I believe, today. And I asked it yesterday.
And I believe I was wearing it's like a mint colored button up shirt, I think.
You were?
Yep. There you go.
Yep. Absolutely. So.
Yep. There you go. There you go. I passed the test. Whew. Now listen about this. You almost got me. You almost got me. Listen to this.
So that's where that come from. I knew I was going to stump you with one question.
Pretty close. I was like, wait, huh?
Yep. You thought they all been asked, didn't you?
Yeah, just about. I mean, I've told everybody on Facebook, and I said, look, everybody's been nasty and all this, and like, look, I got no problem. I'll answer your questions. Just fire them away. And I have asked, like, keep in mind, there's like 3 of us and thousands of y'all, so we're trying to get to them. But
Yeah. So,
All right. Let's switch gears now. That's your answer for how he got the scratches. Allegedly, his doggies scratched him when he came back and he was playing with his dog. So, all right. Now, has stepdad taken a polygraph? Well, Nancy Grace nailed him.
I want to circle back to Sebastian's shoes regarding if anything was missing. Do you have a burglar alarm?
No, ma'am.
Do you have a Ring doorbell cam?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Nancy's like so disgusted right there. Okay. Yeah. No wonder your kid is missing. You can hear her thoughts. And she's also thinking, yeah, how convenient could it be? Satan? My opinion. But before we go any further, what? The mother works for allegedly a security company. She ain't got no ring cam. She hasn't got any motion sensor light at all. Check it out. Listen up.
Have the 2 of you taken a polygraph?
I have.
I have not.
Would you be willing to?
I've offered and volunteered on many occasions to take a polygraph, and I was told directly by law enforcement because of my whereabouts, I did not need one.
What happened to his little chuckle? And he's all like, hey, you almost got me there, Smiley. What happened? He's all serious now. And no, he ain't taking. You are never going to convince me that law enforcement didn't jump on that chance to say, were you on the phone at the time that anyone harmed Sebastian? Were you at your work location? Do you know anything that would help us in finding Sebastian? Do you know if Sebastian was harmed? Do you know where Sebastian is? No, I don't believe it. It's BS in my opinion. BS in my opinion. Look at y'all. BS, BS, BS. They do look sedated, Gemini 65. I agree with you. The Biome says fighting off homeless witness, just speculation, no proof on my end. All speculation is welcome here. Hey, the Tarot Lounge. Now, for those of you that are into tarot, we have a new channel. It is called True Crime Mama. And following up after this at 5 o'clock p.m., which is in 38 minutes, we will be doing a premiere where I did a reading alone with the spirit, the great Gaia in the universe, and Sebastian. What comes out is absolutely shocking. I kid you not. The cards are a drop the mic kind of thing. So make sure, check it out if that is your thing. American Pie, good to have you. Welcome to 1111 True Crime. Lily says he's not leaving with no shoes. Well, he might have never arrived, right? He may have never made it home. How else are we going to explain that the child was never seen or even tripped any type of camera walking down a road? Nothing?
I understand. Miss Proudfoot, did you pass your polygraph?
I did.
Those questions out of the way.
Real quick, no, we are not moving this channel. This channel stays. It is an analytical channel where we do true crime chat. We are just going to be having a second channel. All right, sorry about that, guys. I had to answer a question real quick.
Was Faith in the home?
All right. So, Stepdad did not pass a polygraph test because he says he was not ever needed to take one. Now, we are going to tell you, all right, from Mom's perspective, Nancy nails it. Why have you left the house when Sebastian is missing? I have a hard time not gritting my teeth. What the hell? What if Sebastian were to come home and his mom isn't there? Listen to this.
We were given information that you guys have left the home. Is that true?
Yes, ma'am.
Why?
I'm going back to work.
You're going back to work. What about you, Miss Proudfoot?
No, I'm not going back to work. Not yet, at least.
Did you leave the home also, Miss Proudfoot?
Yes, ma'am.
Why?
To accompany my husband going back to work, and then I'm coming back.
Okay, when will you be back? Do you know yet?
No, not yet.
Are you concerned about being away while the search is ongoing?
Absolutely, I am.
Then why are you going?
Because my son could be anywhere, and we're looking everywhere and anywhere.
I've got a question for you.
Yes,
I want
ma'am.
to find out about Mr. Proudfoot hitting Sebastian with a belt.
Ooh, we're going to go there next. But let's see what you guys are feeling about the mother has left the home and she's not even telling us when she's coming back. Lily says this is stranger stuff, these people, especially the mom. Interesting. Aw, Lily says he could be knocking at the door and there's nobody to get him. Right. Okay, you guys. Texas Ranger says she once hold his hand and walk him to work. What a liar. In my opinion, I'll add. Oh, thank you, Sassy. She says she loves the Minecraft font for Sebastian's name. That was his favorite game. Roger Reynolds says looking 3 hours away? Well, hey, maybe that's where he is. You know, to me, it's a clue. Because most of the time, somebody that, a lot of the time, I'll say, not most of the time, but a lot of the time, the perpetrator wants to stay close to the evidence. If it's somebody that they knew really good, they want to make sure what's going on. They want to have easy access to the body. And I thought about it. I'm like, is this child in a locker? In a rented locker at a bus station or a train station? In a suitcase? Is this a Harmony Montgomery? Is this a Harmony Montgomery case? They claim that, Lucy Lou, they claim that they're looking for Sebastian, but nobody's ever seen him out looking. Hey, Beverly Boomfield. She knows he's dead. That's why she doesn't want to stay home. Well, you could be right there. You could be right. All right, let's get the next one. This one is, all right, so you're going to hear 2 stories. This is the first interview about CPS that I have. And it came from Smiley Stories World. Give her love. Go over, hit her channel up. Absolutely beautiful person. Wonderful person. I just love her energy. Check her out. But this gets asked about CPS on here. And then we're going to play, after he answers Smiley about CPS, we're going to go listen to him answer Nancy Grace. And I'll let you discern which answer, because he's obviously lying in one of these. Which one is it?
Okay. Have you ever had CPS called on you before?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And you don't have to go into it elaborate or anything like that. I just, that was the question that I had. And that happens, sometimes, especially when you have a child who is, has special needs and stuff. That's hard.
I've had it. Well, I'll be honest with you. I've had CPS called on me in 2 states, New Mexico and Tennessee.
And so
he has had CPS called on him in 2 states, New Mexico and Tennessee. Like he wears it proudly, like a badge. Here we go. Now, he just told you, in his own words, he had CPS called on him 2 times. One in New Mexico and one in Tennessee. Okay. Let's hear what happened.
So, and did that include with Sebastian?
Tennessee was Sebastian, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And in fact, Sebastian here, like I said, I got nothing to hide. So Sebastian went to school one day because we were at the house. He got in trouble. He didn't have a belt on. I was like, "Where's your belt?"
So he got in trouble and he didn't have a belt on. Said, "Where's your belt?"
And got it. Whack. Got him. So he goes to school and he tells the teacher. They're mandatory reporters. So the teacher reports it. That afternoon, CPS shows up to the house.
That afternoon, CPS shows up at the house. He's actually going to imprint this on your brain because he's going to say, we were actually just sitting down to eat supper. So he has made it clear to all of you that Sebastian got hit with a belt because he wasn't wearing a belt. That he went to school and he told a teacher who was a mandatory reporter, and CPS showed up at their house
While we're actually sitting down to eat dinner. Now, mind you, 15-year-old child, he's not real happy because he's in trouble.
Anybody else thinks it's strange that every time I do I hear record these interviews with the Proud Butch, you can always hear sirens in the background. Anybody else find that very funny? Like, is that foreshadowing or what?
So he's being punished. So he shows, he makes a report. They come to the house, and the lady who comes to the house is the same lady we've had. She's had a case before.
Whoa, wait, whoa. What? The lady that comes to the house is the same lady that we had before. What? So he knows her. Listen to him.
He shows, he makes a report. They come to the house, and the lady who comes to the house is the same lady we've had. She's had.
The lady that comes to the house is the same lady we had before. What? All right. So you know her, and she's the same lady from before, and I caught you. Keep going, Chris.
Had a case before. Now, the case that was before was something that didn't even happen, and it's like 3 stories that was shoved into one. And when they finally,
so the case before the one where she's coming to the house with a belt, it was like it didn't even happen. It was 3 scenarios all shoved into one. So the case before is the same woman. So is Chris telling us right here? Yes. He's telling you in this scenario that it's the same lady as before in a scenario. So this is the second time CPS in Tennessee with the same lady is showing up at Sebastian's home.
Finally got it debunked. They were like, "Oh, he got so mixed up in telling one story, it mixed into three, and it caused a commotion." Well, they canceled that out. So the one on me, she shows up.
Whoa! He's only had one. He just shared that the one before him, this one that she's coming, where they knew her before, wasn't coming on the first time for Chris. That only leaves one parent. That'd be the mother. So it would seem that Chris himself has leaked the one on before this wasn't him. It was the mother. So Chris is saying, as far as I know, to the best of my understanding, that the first one, when the lady came, and the reason that they knew her, wasn't on him. It was on who? The mother.
And I said, "Hey, how you doing? It's her again."
Hey, how you doing? Would you say that to a CPS worker? Are you that damn excited that somebody is coming in your home to check to see if you've been good enough to your kids? Never, ever. Even a good parent isn't going to be like, "Hey, how you doing?" A good parent's going to be like, "What in the hell are you doing here? What is this about? Come on in. Check every damn thing you'd like." Right? And a guilty one's going to be like, "Oh, hell no. Let's take the kids down to Horse Pond. Come on, Don." I don't mean to laugh, but you feel me. And he's excited to see this woman, and he recognizes her because she's been to the home before. He's already told us. He's been to the home before. She has. But this one's on him. So that only leaves one person for the other one.
She's like, "Oh, hey." She goes, "Hey, I already don't." She's like, "Don't tell me anything, but I'm gonna tell you what I know happened." And I said, "Okay." She goes, "Blue, blue, blue." She told me exactly what happened. I said, "Yes, ma'am." She goes, "Oh my God." I said, "Yes, ma'am. This is how it's been." Sebastian thought by telling on me, making it sound like I was so horrible.
We're going to hear that basically the lady dropped it and went on her way because they, as adults, were able to make it seem like Sebastian was one out of control. Now, that's all kinds of CPS stuff, right? But now, Nancy Grace comes on.
I want to find out about Mr. Proudfoot hitting Sebastian with a belt. What happened?
That was actually several years ago, and it
To
was
Mr. Proudfoot. To Mr. Proudfoot. To Mr. Proudfoot.
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Proudfoot, what happened?
Nancy. To Mr. Proudfoot, to Mr. Proudfoot, to Mr. Proudfoot.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I misunderstood. I thought you were asking Katie. Sebastian had gotten in trouble. He got caught lying. And I had asked him, I said, "Hey, you got to have a punishment for this." He says, "Yes, sir." And I said, "Okay." So I gave him a swat with a belt on his buttocks on the outside of his clothes. One swat.
What did he lie about?
I honestly, I don't remember at the time, but it was probably something dealing with school because that's majority where his issues lie.
Did he have other issues at school?
Some behavioral stuff, but nothing too crazy.
What kind of behavioral stuff?
He has a hard time. He's like awkwardly socially like blending in with students. So it's a little, he's trying to figure out how to do it, but respecting people's space. He gets a little too close. Um, and then kids don't really accept that too much. So it kind of causes an issue. But he'll not stop and he continues on. So then it causes an issue. And instead of being honest about it, he'll lie like, no, I didn't. Okay, Sebastian.
Or lying about doing
Was
work.
that the first time? Was that the first?
What did Mama say? Hold on. Listen close. Let's try and catch it.
Or lying about doing
Was
work.
that the first time?
Or lying about doing work. Lying about doing work. That's really weird because I'll be honest. Most, in general, autistic children are bluntly honest. Like, bluntly honest. Very rarely do they even understand how to lie. But I'm not saying that's everybody because every child is different.
Was that the first time you had ever hit him with a belt?
Yes, ma'am. The one and only time, actually.
When was this?
Years ago, ma'am.
Any idea how many? 3, 10, 1?
It probably at least 3 years ago.
I don't understand how that turned into a CPS or Child Protective Services complaint. How were they alerted that you hit him with a belt?
That did not turn into a CPS service call.
What? What? But you said the same lady came to your house because the school is a mandatory reporter and that y'all were actually eating dinner. Huh. How interesting. Donald Douglas says children with autism have social issues. He acts like it's new to him. Special needs kids or any kid should never be hit. The Terror Lounge says if they'd hit him with a belt over this, imagine if they were mad. Naya says, I'm autistic and that is a symptom. Naya says, you can't lie. Right, because it's so obvious if they tried. I mean, most people with autism, they're very direct. When they're young, they don't always know that directness can actually hurt someone's feeling. And so they'll be honest to a fault. So let's see, the lady in front of you in the checkout line has a very wide arse, and the child can't see around the woman. He might say, Mom, why is her butt so huge? I can't even see around it. And it's not because this kid is trying to be crude or rude. It's because they have autism. And when they're little, they don't know what's socially acceptable. They don't understand feelings as much either. It takes them a lot to get in touch with what are they feeling as an emotion. So he's caught himself here in a lie. Right? Jenny Troglin says, this dude, I swear, can't keep lies and what little truth straight talks in circles. Ugh. Stacy Keck1 says, can't keep his lies straight. Lindy Lou says, not wearing a seatbelt and then hitting him with a belt. Not wearing a belt. Oh, that's weird. I said seatbelt. That's weird. Okay. Lindy Lou, not wearing a belt and then hitting him with a belt. CPS called the authorities as having field day with all the lies. Right? All right, you guys, we've got 15 minutes left and then we got to jump over. And so with that, we're going to try to finish this little bit up and try to get one more in. And tomorrow, we're going to be talking about all the dog tracking stuff. Oh, I've got him in so many different recorded interviews talking about these dogs. You just wait.
There were other CPS reports, right? Were they regarding your other child?
There is one in regards to my daughter that I know of out in New Mexico with my ex-wife and myself.
What happened?
At the time, my ex-wife had fled to New Mexico with my daughter. We were going through a custody and a divorce case at that time. And at the time, when I'd call and try to check in on my daughter, I could never reach my ex-wife at that time. So a welfare check was requested. Law enforcement told me to call CPS if I had concerns. So I called CPS. Law enforcement did make a welfare call, and that was it.
So he said his wife took his daughter and fled to New Mexico. And then he did a welfare check and CPS was called, and that was that. So that's the order. He was second. The woman went first. She fled to New Mexico with his daughter, and then he filed the paperwork with CPS. But then listen to the next statement.
Then how does that turn into a CPS complaint against you?
I have no idea, ma'am. There's a lot of misinformation out there right now in regards to my New Mexico case that actually has no relevance to the Sebastian case.
Then was there even a CPS complaint against you in New Mexico?
Not that I am aware of. And my attorney and myself are well educated on my case, and there's nothing that we know of.
Was there a TRO taken out against you regarding
Yes, ma'am.
your daughter?
Not a TRO, but a TPO.
A temporary protective order. Why was that taken out?
So in regards to that case, my ex-wife had a TPO put against her in Tennessee at the time. When we went to court, that got dissolved. I was ordered to hand my daughter back over to my ex-wife at the time. She gets in a truck. She fleds to New Mexico. 2 days later, she files one in retaliation.
Oh my God. Okay, so now he's saying he went first. Then he went and got all, whatever. And he had the daughter. He got all like whatever and filed against her first. So he files a temporary protective order against his ex-wife, okay? Somehow she gets a daughter and takes off to New Mexico and files one right back on him. But that isn't what he just got done saying. He just got done saying that she was retaliating. I'm so tired of him.
Is it still?
Let's just free. You'd think I've frozen the screen, but I haven't. But just wait, y'all. Just a minute. I want you to take a good gander at Nancy's face.
Is it still in place?
No, ma'am, that was dropped within, I think, 2 weeks of it being put in place.
I've got a question about the belt incident. You're telling me that was the only time that you ever hit Sebastian with a belt?
Yes, ma'am.
And you're also telling me that did not make it to CPS?
No, ma'am, that did not.
Oh, wow. What? How long is this one? Let me see.
So let's see.
We'll do that one tomorrow. I cannot believe this. You guys, there is so much to go through yet. There's at one point and we're going to be covering it very soon. It's in these clips where he talks about being able to verify from midnight to 6 a.m. And he actually talks about being able to know what happened even though he wasn't home. And when he says something like that, I'm like, I got to have my 1111 listen to it in case I'm mishearing him. So that'll be coming up in this week yet. But I want to say this is absolutely him caught in a lie. He either was absolutely bold-faced lying to Smiley's World and all of us there, saying that CPS came to the house during supper, or he is lying to Nancy Grace, right? He got in front of the big bad world, and he's like, oh, this isn't a channel with only 5,000 on it, or 3,000 on it. This is a channel with thousands and thousands and thousands of views. I will lie. Boom. I'm blown away. Blown away. I'm just saying. You guys, I'm going to leave you with the thought. We're going to jump up here. Get ready to jump over to True Crime Mama. So put an @ symbol in that little search bar up there and type True Crime Mama. All together. Capital T for true, capital C for crime, capital M for mama. It'll get you over. Also, once I click this off, there'll be a thumbnail. You can click. It'll jump you over as well. And that's where we're going to be. But I'm going to leave you with the thought. When a child goes missing, if the perpetrator is the parent, is it possible that the parent removed the child's shoes to use as a decoy for scent dogs later? Just asking. I love you. To the moon and back always, always and forever. Pray for Sebastian Rogers. I pray with all my heart that he is found safe and sound. And if we are not given that, could we please just get some closure as soon as possible? I love you all. To the moon and back.